Iron Man wasn't trying to play God. He just wanted to build a backup for Earth. He called it the God Engine, a machine that could reset planets. It was meant to save life, but one wrong heartbeat, and it could erase everything. So he buried it beneath the Arctic. But Hulk doesn't ask for instructions. And when he bled into the core, the engine woke up. Time shattered. Worlds merged. And now, Thor's hammer won't lift, because the engine decided someone else is worthy. The sky over the Arctic Circle never truly darkened. But today, the snow looked bruised. A Stark jet sliced through the low clouds, silent matte black, invisible to radar. Inside, Tony Stark stood at the edge of the cargo bay, hands clasped behind his back, staring at a screen embedded in the wall. His heart rate was stable. His eyes were not. The live feed showed a silver spire buried in ice. The top glowed faint gold, like it was breathing. It wasn't supposed to glow. "Sir," Friday said softly, "there's movement inside the core." Tony didn't respond. Because the God Engine was never supposed to activate. Not unless Earth was already gone. And Earth was very much not gone. 8 years ago, Tony started building it. After the Battle of Sokovia, after Thanos, after the multiverse started cracking, he realized something. Earth was too fragile for its own story. So he designed a failsafe, a machine deep beneath the ice, sealed in adamantium-vibranium alloy, powered by an artificial neutron star, coded to only respond to his biometrics and a single phrase. "If this world ends, give it another." It wasn't a weapon. It was a restart button. A full cosmic recalibration system. Planets, stars, history, rebuilt in seconds. He named it the God Engine. And then he never spoke of it again. Until now. The jet descended. Snow blasted off the frozen base as it landed near the engine spire, which had risen 6 feet out of the glacier on its own. Tony stepped out, armored from neck to toe in the Iron God -99 Malawian Quatches. Not a war suit, but a containment suit, designed to hold back cosmic fallout, not fire it. He knelt by the spire, placed his hand on it. Warm. That was impossible. He activated the base's inner sensors. And that's when he saw the breach. A giant handprint, burned into the crystal casing of the main core. Fingers like stone. Pressure marks. And beneath it, one tiny smear of green blood. Tony's stomach dropped. Hulk. 12 hours earlier. Bruce Banner wasn't trying to break anything. He was just walking. He'd gone north to isolate, to think, to get away from gamma signatures and screaming reporters and Avengers politics. He'd followed coordinates that he didn't remember writing down. A slip of paper in his own handwriting, found on his nightstand. A single number. Arctic latitude. No explanation. It didn't feel like a trap. It felt like fate. By the time the wind turned sharp, he had already begun to change. The Hulk wasn't angry. He was drawn, like something underground was calling him. When he found the glowing stone in the ice, he touched it without fear. It opened for him. The ground cracked. Gold light poured out. Voices whispered in languages older than atoms. Hulk grunted and pressed harder. And when he bled onto it, just a single drop from a cracked knuckle, the God Engine woke up. For the first time in its existence, it scanned someone not Tony Stark. And it liked what it saw. Because the God Engine was never meant to be rational. It was built to judge raw survival. And nothing survives like the Hulk. Now in the present, Tony stood frozen, running worst-case simulations in his head faster than Friday could compute. "If Hulk bonded with the engine," he muttered, "it won't see me as primary anymore." Inside the chamber, lights flickered. Snow melted in rings. The machine pulsed louder, like a heart out of rhythm. "Sir," Friday said, "incoming atmospheric rupture. Something's arriving." Tony looked up. The clouds split open like paper. And Thor dropped from the sky, lightning curling around him, cloak billowing. "What did you build this time, Stark?" he asked, voice low. Tony didn't answer. He just pointed. Thor turned and saw Hulk. But not just Hulk. Hulk was walking out of the light, calm, slow, glowing faintly gold at the edges. His chest bore a crackling emblem of the God Engine, now embedded in his skin like a brand. His eyes were not angry. They were clear. Banner? Thor asked. No, Hulk grumbled. Not anymore. The three stood in silence, deep in the Arctic wasteland, the god engine humming like a second sun beneath them. I didn't ask for this, Hulk said, his voice layered, like something else was speaking with him. Tony stepped forward. What did you do? I touched it, Hulk said. It touched back. Friday's voice cut in. Cosmic radiation rising. Engine core no longer stable. Start protocol has been overwritten. Thor lifted Mjolnir. I don't like this, Stark. Tony's helmet closed. Neither do I. But Hulk raised a hand, and Mjolnir stopped midair. It froze, shook, then dropped. Thor stepped back in shock. It refused me. Tony whispered, Oh God. Because the God engine didn't just copy timelines. It rewrote worth. The Arctic snow boiled. Not from fire, but from force, gravitational ripples, time shockwaves, bursts of probability bending around one being. Hulk. He wasn't roaring. He wasn't smashing. He was still. And somehow, that terrified Thor more than anything. Hulk stood at the core of the God engine, eyes glowing with a cold light of creation. Embedded in his chest was a radiant mark, a pulsing emblem shaped like a rotating trinity of stars. He wasn't just linked to the machine. He was the interface now. Iron Man's HUD screamed warnings. Friday, confirm again, Tony said, voice clipped. Confirmed. All override access revoked. Engine no longer recognizes you as creator. He grit his teeth. So who does it recognize? A pause. Then, the new Prime directive reads, Survive, Evolve, Ascend. Source, Hulk. Tony looked at Thor. He's not just synced with it. He's teaching it. Thor narrowed his eyes. Then we must unsync him. But how do you unplug a being who's never been plugged in? Tony launched the first move. He fired a containment field around Hulk's feet, reinforced with kinetic inversion. It could hold the juggernaut. It didn't hold Hulk for a second. The field collapsed. Hulk didn't even flinch. Thor threw Mjolnir. But the hammer stopped midair again, then whipped backward, crashing into the snow. Lightning crackled in the sky, confused. Thor's face went pale. The engine, it rejected me. Again. Tony's heart dropped. It's recalibrating worth. Hulk finally spoke. His voice was layered now, like wind through caverns. I didn't ask for this power. Then let it go. Tony shouted. I can't, Hulk said quietly. It's not a weapon. It's a mirror. And it looked at me and saw a survivor. Thor stepped forward. So what, now you rule the earth? No, Hulk replied. I rebuild it. He raised his arm, and the sky split open. Thousands of shimmering hexagonal windows bloomed across the Arctic sky, each one a timeline, flickering like shards of broken glass. Some showed Earth as a utopia. Some showed burning ruins. Some showed no Earth at all. And one showed the Avengers failing to stop the Hulk. Tony's voice dropped. He's choosing a new version of Earth. Or fusing them, said Thor. Friday, Tony barked. How long until full engine activation? A beat. 57 minutes. And then it rewrites everything. In the remains of the Stark jet, Tony opened a private channel. Encrypted. Off-grid. Target code. Phase 17. Activating remote 0. In a hidden chamber beneath New York, something stirred. A vault opened, and a shadow moved. Back of the engine, Tony stepped toward Hulk again, this time with palms raised. You're not the monster here, he said. But this machine doesn't just obey. It amplifies. You feel calm now. Wait until it magnifies rage. Hulk's brow twitched. I've controlled it for days. Tony's armor scanned micro-radiation. That's a lie. You activated it 12 hours ago. You've been in temporal flux. You think you've had days. Hulk's eye twitched. What? Tony's voice softened. It's not making time move forward. It's making you move through time. The realization hit Hulk hard. His shoulders shook. For the first time, he looked unsure. And that was the opening. Boom. A red streak crashed into the ice with Godspeed force, sending shockwaves across the snowfield. A second Iron Man armor, but not piloted by Tony. Inside it stood Captain Marvel. Her eyes glowed white-hot. She didn't ask questions. She attacked. Carol shot straight into Hulk, cracking the glacier in half. Her fists lit up with photon blasts as she slammed him back, punch after punch, glowing cosmic light exploding off his skin. Hulk grunted. Not in pain. In calculation. He backhanded her, sending her flying into the side of the God Engine spire. Metal groaned. Lights flared. Then, he leapt after her. Thor. Tony shouted. Protect the spire. If it's breached, it could detonate the poles. Thor swung Mjolnir in massive arcs, summoning snowstorms to slow the cascading heat. But Hulk and Captain Marvel were beyond storms now. They fought mid-air over the crackling engine, each hit fracturing reality itself. Every punch Carol threw created a timeline echo. Every block Hulk made rewrote it. The skies above glitched. Colors bent. Gravity twisted. Tony stared up, breathless. They're collapsing layers of the multiverse. Friday buzzed in his ear. Sir, warning. Engine pulse has doubled. 42 minutes until full rewrite. Tony opened his wrist. A red switch blinked. Final protocol. It would shut the engine down, but only by triggering a full reset of the Hulk's nervous system. A permanent neural wipe. He hesitated. Could he do it? Kill the mind of someone who had saved the world more times than most people breathed? Above, Carol was losing. Hulk grabbed her mid-flight, spun, and slammed her into a frozen cliff face. The light around her dimmed. She fell. Thor caught her mid-drop, cradling her lymph form. She's alive, he growled, but barely. Hulk landed across from them, breathing deep. Controlled. Glowing brighter. I'm not trying to destroy anything, he said. I'm trying to fix it. Tony stepped forward, hand over the switch. Then let us help. You can't, Hulk said. And for a second, his eyes flickered with sadness. Then, because I already pressed my button. The engine screamed. Reality cracked. All three of them lifted into the air against their will, pulled by gravity no longer obeying rules. And in the middle of it all, the engine's core opened like a blooming flower. Inside it, a heartbeat, glowing, accelerating. Time itself bent toward it. Tony stared and whispered, Dear God, he's not rebuilding Earth. He's rewriting who lives on it. Everything was lifting. Not just the heroes. Not just the mountains. Time was lifting. Hulk stood at the epicenter of the blooming God Engine, its petals of energy stretching into the clouds like a lotus made of gravity. And at its core, a heartbeat of creation, pulsing louder, faster, heavier. The multiverse wasn't collapsing. It was being rewritten from the inside out. Iron Man's voice was steady, but tight. Friday, confirm. Has he locked Earth's core reality? Confirmed. Earth 616 now fused to multiversal override layer. Reality anchor is Bruce Banner. Tony stared at Hulk. At his back. At the quiet way he just stood there as the universe surrendered its laws to him. This wasn't rage. It was resolve. Captain Marvel stirred. Still bruised from the last clash, she forced herself upright, clutching her ribs. I don't care what code this engine runs, she muttered. We end it now. She lit up, her entire body radiating binary fire. Her feet left the ground as energy screamed around her. Thor held out his arm. Wait. He is not attacking. Carol didn't flinch. He's worse. He's believing he's right. She launched toward Hulk. He didn't move. Carol barreled into the engine's core chamber, surrounded by burning gold. Hulk, she shouted mid-flight. You are not God. She passed through him. Literally. Her body phased. Her molecules slid through what appeared to be Hulk, but felt like static. He turned slowly. You're late, he said, but his mouth didn't move. This Hulk wasn't fully here. The engine was duplicating him. Outside, Thor and Tony stared up as two more Hulks emerged from the sky, one flaming red, one flickering between timelines, broken like shattered glass. The engine's creating versions of him from potential realities, Tony whispered. Backup protocols. Security Hulks. Carol flew back, chest heaving. I touched him. He wasn't solid. Tony shook his head. It's already started. He's becoming a core concept. a constant across timelines. Thor stepped forward, jaw tight. Then let us test the engine. He held up Mjolnir. If I am still worthy, I strike him down. The sky darkened. The clouds turned gold. Thor summoned everything. Lightning cracked open the heavens. Thunder shook the sea. Mjolnir burned white with the voice of gods. Thor roared and hurled it straight at Hulk. Mid-flight, the hammer stopped, spun, then turned around, and flew back to Thor. It hit his chest and dropped at his feet. Silence. Thor's breath caught. I was rejected. Tony turned to him. Because the engine doesn't care about legacy. It rewrites worth, Carol said quietly. And it chose him, Tony added. Thor knelt, thunder fading around him. This is not justice. Tony agreed. It's evolution. Then the sky cracked. A giant tear opened, not just a portal, not a gate, a permanent fissure in time. And out of it stepped a form none of them expected. Doctor Strange. But not alone. Floating beside him was a glowing version of Tony Stark, from an alternate future. Older, scarred, half his face burned, half his chest replaced with living circuitry. Hello, future Tony said calmly. We're a little late, but we brought the fail-safe. Carol floated up. You knew this could happen? Future Tony nodded. Of course. Hulk's survival instinct always makes him the first candidate for cosmic convergence. Thor stepped forward. Then tell us how to stop it. Strange spoke. You don't. Present Tony frowned. Excuse me. You don't stop it, Strange repeated. You guide it. The God engine wasn't malfunctioning. It was evolving, adapting to a new idea of power, survival, and leadership. And in all timelines, Hulk kept surviving. The machine recognized him as the last constant. Carol lit up again. You're saying let him rewrite the planet? No, said future Tony. We help him choose the right version. Suddenly, the core exploded upward, a massive beam of energy shooting into the stratosphere. And inside it, Hulk multiplied. One version was peaceful. One was ancient. One was monstrous. One was Bruce alone crying. The engine was making him choose which version would become permanent. He screamed. Carol turned to Strange. He can't decide. It'll rip him apart. He's not meant to, Strange replied. That's why you're here. Tony stepped forward. You mean we choose for him? Future Tony looked down. No. You choose with him. They all rose. Carol, Thor, present Tony, future Tony, Strange. And together, they entered the beam of the engine. It was like walking into an idea, into possibility itself. Every version of the Hulk turned to face them. Some growled. Some cried. Some begged to be chosen. One whispered, "Don't let it be me." Carol reached out to the peaceful one, the Hulk with calm eyes, surrounded by children, with vines in his hair and no blood on his fists. Tony locked onto that frequency. Thor placed his hand on the ground. Together, they spoke into the core. This is the world we choose. The engine pulsed. Time folded. Reality trembled. And then, everything stopped. The sky returned. The mountain reformed. The engine sealed itself in a perfect sphere, silent. And Hulk fell silent, unconscious, chest rising, at peace. Carol caught him. Thor closed his eyes. Tony turned to future Tony. What happens now? Future Tony smiled. You gave the world to a better version of him. And us. You forget. We're never the main characters. The skies above Earth rippled, like a rock tossed into spacetime. Across dimensions, in hidden galaxies and sealed sanctums, ancient systems blinked red. One phrase echoed across timelines. The engine chose the Hulk. In Universe 91Z, the Celestials paused mid-construction of a star. One turned his head, an act that shifted gravity across 6 realities, and whispered in code. In Universe 423, Galactus stirred from a sleep older than language. His world-destroying hunger faded for a moment. In Universe 144001, the Living Tribunal's third face blinked, and that was enough to fracture 5 lesser dimensions. And in all of them, one signal repeated. He survived the merge. He was chosen. Stop him. Back on Earth, the God engine slumbered. Quiet. Still. Hulk lay beneath the crystal petals, unconscious, but breathing calmly. No more war in his chest. No more rage behind his eyes. Carol watched over him. Tony stood nearby, watching the horizon, and Thor stared up at the sky. Then they all felt it, like a cold breath across the back of the neck. Something was arriving. Friday, Tony said. Get me visuals. Now. The hologram unfolded. Not a ship. Not a god. A tear in space itself, vertical, endless, humming with energy not native to this plane. And from it stepped a figure. Not a hero. Not a villain. Not human. It had no face. No skin. Just a smooth silhouette wrapped in silver, eyes like inverted suns, and a staff forged from collapsed timelines. Friday's voice trembled. I've never seen this entity. But it's broadcasting authority. Tony narrowed his eyes. It's not here to talk. The figure hovered over the Arctic in silence. It raised its staff. Time froze. Carol dropped mid-breath. Thor's lightning paused mid-crackle. Only Tony moved, protected by the God engine's residue still lingering in his suit. He stared up at the entity. What are you? He asked. The voice didn't speak. It imprinted directly onto Tony's thoughts. I am the response. The engine overstepped. Your timeline must be corrected. Hulk must be unchosen. The response floated downward toward the God engine's resting spire. It extended the staff. Tony jumped between them, repulsors armed. No, he said. You don't touch him. The response tilted its head. You deny the will of the multiverse. Tony's palms glowed hotter. Every day of my life. And then the world resumed. Time snapped back. Carol gasped. Thor blinked. Hulk stirred. But the response was already swinging its staff. Carol took the hit. It didn't burn. It didn't break bones. It erased memory. She screamed, as past, present, and purpose were ripped from her all at once. Thor flew next, hammer raised. The staff clashed with Mjolnir, and Mjolnir cracked. Tony screamed, protect the core. Too late. The response raised its hand. The engine shuddered. Inside it, Hulk's body rose into the air, limp, glowing again. Reality bent. He was being unwritten. Until he opened his eyes and grabbed the staff. The response froze. Hulk's voice was calm, measured. No more resets. And then he shattered the staff in one hand. The response stumbled back. Its face cracked. Light poured out. And Hulk spoke again. Tell them all. I didn't survive to be deleted. The response dropped to its knees. Its staff, a weapon forged from rejected futures, lay shattered in the snow, pieces dissolving into memory. Across the sky, the multiverse trembled. And in the center of it all, Hulk stood, his hands still glowing with the final pulse of a God engine. Not angry, not broken, just still. Tony stepped forward. Bruce. No, Hulk said softly. But yes. His eyes glowed, not green, not gold, but white. A clean slate. The response tried to speak, but it had no mouth now. Its shape flickered, stripped of timeline authority. Leave, Hulk said. And with a single blink, the creature vanished into a folded sliver of space, never born, never sent. Thor lowered what remained of Mjolnir. Carol groaned, mind slowly repairing. Tony's pulse slowed, and the earth was silent. But not safe. Friday's voice returned. Sir, the engine is still active. Tony exhaled. Figures. Hulk looked to the sky. I can control it now, he said. But not forever. Tony nodded. So it's still running calculations? Yes. On what? Everything. The engine, now buried beneath the ice again, was listening. Waiting. It would keep evolving, learning, adapting. And Hulk was its anchor. The cost of choosing him? He couldn't leave. He couldn't rage. He couldn't die. Not unless the engine was destroyed. Tony approached him. You're trapped in this, he said. Hulk nodded. I am Earth's backup now. If it ends, I reboot it. Carol limped to them. That's not a life. It's more than I had. A long pause. Then Hulk looked directly at Tony. But you built the override key. Tony froze. Hulk stepped forward, calmly. Didn't you? Of course he did. A final switch, buried in his suit. A shutdown trigger, designed to destroy the engine and its host in one irreversible burst. He could end it. Here. Now. No God machine. No rewritten timelines. No eternal Hulk. Just peace. Tony looked at the switch. Friday whispered, one press. One choice. Thor said nothing. Carol looked away. Hulk waited. The wind howled. Tony raised his hand. Paused. And then, he didn't press it. I've learned one thing, he said. The future never listens to us. It watches what we do. He looked at Hulk. And if it's going to watch anyone now, I'd rather it be you. Hulk nodded, accepting the burden. The God engine hummed softly beneath them. Not hungry. Not angry. Just alive. Carol smiled. So what now? Tony turned, walking into the snow. Now, he said, we go home. Cyclone final shot. Above Earth, stars realigned. The multiverse adjusted. And deep beneath the ice, the God engine whispered its new core law. Let the one who survives decide. White heavy checkmark end.